We're taught from a young age that being surrounded by people means success, joy, and belonging. But what if that's only half the story? What if loneliness is not an enemy, but a sacred doorway only the chosen ones are asked to walk through? Have you ever wondered why life sometimes feels like it's pulling you into complete isolation? Why do doors suddenly shut, friendships fade, and opportunities vanish right when you're trying to move forward? For most people, this feels like rejection or bad luck. But for the chosen ones, solitude isn't punishment. It's preparation. It's not a dead end. It's a divine classroom where your true purpose begins to unfold. The world has programmed us to think being alone means being abandoned. But the reality is far more powerful. It's not punishment, it's preparation. And when the preparation begins, the shift can feel so intense that most people mistake it for loss. But chosen ones know what feels like separation is actually transformation. This is the mystery we're uncovering today. Not just why solitude happens, but why it's the very thing that makes the chosen ones rise. So stay with me, because what comes next will change the way you see your own journey forever. Let's begin. When you step into solitude, something unseen but deeply real begins to take place. Your energy resets. At first, you may not notice it. You'll wonder why you're no longer comfortable in certain places, why some people who once seemed close now feel distant, or why conversations you used to enjoy suddenly drain you. That shift isn't random. It's the vibration of your soul rising. Chosen ones experience this more than anyone else because they're not built to carry the same frequency as the world. Living alone strips away the constant noise of other people's moods, intentions, and projections. What's left is your pure, authentic energy, untouched, unshaped by external influence. And here's the catch: not everyone can handle it. People who thrived when you were operating at a lower vibration begin to quietly fall away. Some may drift without explanation. Others may even show subtle resentment. But you'll realize it's not rejection, it's protection. The universe removes what no longer aligns with your higher frequency. Chosen ones often describe this season as bittersweet. The freedom of being unbothered is powerful, yet the shedding of old connections can feel like loss. But this reset is necessary, because your energy is your compass. And when it's clean, when it's aligned, it guides you straight into the purpose you were chosen for. There is a kind of strength that cannot be forged in crowds, and that is the strength you gain in silence. Think about it. When the noise of the world is stripped away, what remains? Just you. And that's where the real battle begins. At first, silence feels heavy. Many chosen ones confess that they reached for distractions, filled the space with music, social media, or endless scrolling. Anything to avoid hearing the echo of their own thoughts. But over time, silence shifts. It transforms from something that feels empty into something sacred. You begin to realize that you are not fragile for standing alone. You are powerful. Silence teaches you endurance, patience, and unshakable confidence in your own voice. It's where your fears surface, but it's also where you learn to face them head on. And in that confrontation, you build a strength that doesn't depend on applause, validation, or constant company. This is why the silence of solitude is not a weakness. It's a spiritual training ground. Chosen ones don't just survive in silence, they thrive in it, because they understand that the quiet is where their true authority is born. Here's a perspective shift most people misunderstood the most. Solitude is not a punishment, it's an invitation. The universe, or God, however you see it, calls certain people into a season where the usual support systems fall away. Why? because something bigger is being prepared. Chosen ones are set apart because their assignment is unlike anyone else's. While the world sees solitude as loneliness, spiritually, it's closer to consecration. Think about how gold is refined. It can't stay mixed with ordinary metals. It has to be separated, purified by fire. That's what solitude does for the soul of a chosen one. It removes distractions, clears away false identities, and invites you to sit with your truest self. And though the process can sting, it is holy. In these seasons, you'll notice that things you once tolerated, shallow conversations, meaningless routines, no longer sit right with you. That's not you becoming antisocial. That's you answering a sacred invitation. You're being aligned with your higher calling, prepared for impact, and strengthened for a destiny you can't yet see. Chosen ones learn to stop fighting solitude and start embracing it, because once you realize it's an invitation, you understand that saying yes to it means saying yes to your future. One of the hardest lessons in solitude is this: not everyone is meant to walk with you into your next chapter. As your energy shifts and your purpose sharpens, certain ties will naturally fall away. For the chosen ones, this can feel brutal at first. You may lose friendships you thought were forever, relationships you invested in, or communities you once leaned on. But here's the truth: what's being removed isn't punishment, it's pruning. A tree can't bear fruit if dead branches weigh it down. And in the same way, your life can't flourish if you're bound to connections that no longer serve your growth. Letting go doesn't always mean conflict or betrayal. Often it's a quiet drifting, a gentle parting that makes room for something new. Chosen ones must learn the art of release, thanking the past for its lessons and walking forward without bitterness. The ties that remain are those aligned with your higher path, and the new ones that come will carry the vibration of your destiny. What feels like loss today is simply space being made for tomorrow's blessings. The moment you step into solitude, people start talking. They whisper that you're depressed, antisocial, or running from something. Friends may question why you've changed. Family might assume you're distant, and society at large will label you as strange for not fitting the mold. But chosen ones know that misunderstanding is part of the journey. When you're called to something greater, you can't explain it to everyone, because not everyone has the capacity to understand, and that's okay. The sacred path doesn't come with mass approval. In fact, being misunderstood is often proof that you're on the right track. While others judge what they see on the surface, what's really happening inside you is invisible. Clarity is growing, gifts are activating, and your destiny is unfolding. The world will always misinterpret silence because it can't measure what happens in the unseen. But chosen ones don't live for the world's approval. They live for alignment. When you accept that misunderstanding is part of your path, you free yourself from needing validation. You stop explaining, stop defending, and start embodying your truth. And that's when the world notices, not because you sought attention, but because your transformation becomes undeniable. For most people, time feels like an enemy. They rush through days, chase deadlines, and panic about what they haven't accomplished. But for the chosen ones, solitude changes the entire relationship with time. When the noise of the world fades, time transforms from a burden into a teacher. Every quiet moment becomes a lesson, every pause an opportunity to see what others miss. In solitude, you're no longer pulled by endless distractions. Suddenly, the hours stretch, giving you room to breathe and reflect. And it's in that reflection that wisdom is born. The chosen ones begin to see that time is not just about minutes or hours. It's about growth, patience, and preparation. Instead of fighting against it, you learn to flow with it. Time teaches patience. It reminds you that real transformation doesn't happen overnight. Seeds don't become trees in a day. Dreams don't manifest instantly. In your solitude, you begin to value the slow process of becoming, rather than craving quick results. You start to see setbacks, not as failures, but as part of the timeline shaping your destiny. Time teaches perspective. What felt urgent a year ago may seem irrelevant now. What feels painful in the moment eventually becomes the fuel that makes you stronger. The chosen ones use solitude to look back and connect the dots, understanding how every delay, every detour, and every closed door was part of the bigger picture. For the chosen ones, solitude becomes a training ground where time reveals truths that others overlook. While the world rushes, you learn to wait. While others panic, you learn to trust. And when the time finally comes for you to step into your calling, you'll be ready. Not because you rushed, but because you prepared. But solitude doesn't just teach patience and trust. It also transforms how you experience the simplest parts of life. And that's where the real beauty begins to shine. One of the most surprising gifts of solitude is how it magnifies the little things. When life slows down and distractions fade, the smallest joys begin to shine like treasures. For the chosen ones, solitude opens the eyes and the heart to appreciate life in a way most people never do. Think about it. In the middle of constant noise, you rarely notice the details. The sound of the wind, the colors of the sunset, the laughter in a memory. They're drowned out by the rush of daily life. But in solitude, those details return with incredible clarity. Suddenly, a simple walk feels like medicine. A warm cup of tea becomes a moment of peace. The quiet hum of nature feels like a personal symphony. The chosen ones discover that joy doesn't always come from big achievements or dramatic events. Often, it's hidden in the small moments that most people overlook. And the more you notice these small joys, the more grateful you become. Gratitude, in turn, shifts your entire perspective. Instead of focusing on what's missing, you begin to celebrate what's already here. This shift is powerful. Small joys bring healing. They calm the mind, lighten the spirit, and remind you that life is still good even in difficult seasons. For the chosen ones, these moments of appreciation become spiritual anchors, proof that even in solitude, you are never truly empty. But here's the deeper truth. When you learn to appreciate the small, you become ready to handle the big. People who constantly chase more often miss the blessings they already have. But those who can see beauty in the little things build the character to manage greatness when it comes. Solitude teaches this discipline. So, while the world may think you're missing out, the reality is that you're gaining more than most could ever imagine. The laughter of a child, the glow of the moon, the peace in prayer, these small joys become your hidden riches. And for the chosen ones, this ability to appreciate the little things makes life infinitely richer, no matter the circumstances. But the journey doesn't stop there. These small joys also prepare you for a larger mission, the chance to become something greater for others. The final purpose of solitude isn't just about personal growth. It's about preparation to serve. For the chosen ones, the isolation you endure, the lessons you learn, and the strength you build are not just for you, they're for others. Think of it this way. Light shines brightest in darkness. When you've endured your own season of silence, when you've walked through loneliness and come out stronger, You become a living example for those still struggling. People look at you and see resilience. They see faith. They see courage. And in that moment, your story becomes their hope. Solitude transforms you into a guide. Because you've spent time reflecting, healing, and listening. You have wisdom to share. Your words carry weight because they're born out of experience, not theory. You can speak to pain because you've felt it. You can guide others because you've walked the path yourself. That's what makes the chosen ones powerful leaders, healers, and inspirations. But being a light doesn't always mean standing on a stage or having thousands of followers. Sometimes it means offering kindness in secret, praying for someone in need, or simply living in a way that others notice and respect. Light doesn't need to announce itself, it just shines, and people are drawn to it. This is why solitude is never wasted. Every tear, every unanswered question, every moment of silence was shaping you into someone others could depend on. The chosen ones are called not just to survive their trials, but to become beacons of hope for those around them. And here's the beauty of it all. Once you've become a light for others, you'll see that your solitude was never truly lonely. You were being equipped to carry something bigger than yourself. But before you shine for others, you first have to survive the darkest parts of the journey. And that brings us to one of the most misunderstood lessons of solitude. For many, solitude feels like something that breaks them apart. It feels like loss, like emptiness, like being forgotten. But for the chosen ones, solitude is the place where brokenness is transformed into wholeness. When you're left alone, you begin to see all the parts of yourself you've ignored. The wounds, the fears, the insecurities, they all rise to the surface. At first, this feels unbearable, but this exposure is necessary. You cannot heal what you will not face. In solitude, you finally face yourself. This is the painful yet beautiful process of becoming whole again. The chosen ones learn to forgive themselves, to release guilt, and to let go of the past that once chained them down. Piece by piece, solitude helps you gather the broken fragments of your life and rebuild something stronger. Healing takes time, but solitude gives you that time. Without distractions, you can finally sit with your emotions and work through them. You realize that wholeness doesn't come from other people filling your gaps. It comes from learning to love and accept yourself as you are. For the chosen ones, becoming whole again also means reconnecting with divine purpose. You understand that even your pain had meaning, even your loneliness carried lessons. Suddenly, the story makes sense. The heartbreak, the disappointments, the betrayals, they were not there to destroy you, but to prepare you. And once you step into that wholeness, everything changes. Confidence replaces doubt. Peace replaces fear. Strength replaces weakness. You no longer walk as someone searching. You walk as someone found. This is the ultimate gift of solitude. It doesn't leave you empty. It restores you. It makes you whole. And for the chosen ones, this wholeness becomes the foundation for the incredible journey ahead. But as we close this journey together, there's one more truth you need to carry with you. One that ties everything together. So what does solitude truly mean for the chosen ones? It means transformation. It means stripping away the noise of the world so that you can hear the voice of destiny. It means learning patience from time, finding joy in the small things, trusting yourself fully, becoming a light for others, and ultimately being made whole again. What many see as loneliness is actually preparation. What feels like emptiness is the soil where strength, wisdom, and purpose take root. The chosen ones are never truly alone in solitude. They are being reshaped, refined, and redefined for something greater. Think back to every section we've explored: the strength in silence, the wisdom of time, the joy in small things, the calling to shine for others, and the gift of becoming whole again. Each piece is a step in the divine process, and the more you embrace it, the stronger you become. But here's the truth: you're not just hearing a story, you're living it. If you felt isolated, misunderstood, or separated, maybe it's because you too are one of the chosen ones. Maybe your solitude is not punishment, but preparation. Now, I want to hear from you. How has solitude shaped your journey? Have you felt the quiet strength of being set apart? Drop your thoughts in the comments and type Amen if this message spoke to you today. Your story matters, and sharing it might just encourage another chosen one walking the same path. Because solitude isn't the end. It's the beginning of something greater. And for the chosen ones, the best chapters are still ahead.